So we're getting around to different kinds of companies. This one, BitYota, is data warehouse as a service. Now that sounds lame and uninteresting, but these guys are doing analytics underneath all sorts of new mobile and social apps, and we're going to hear about it right now. And who are you?
My name's Dev Patel. I'm CEO of BitYota, and I will tell you how interesting a data warehouse service can be for many of our clients.
Yeah. So who are you and where did you come from? What's your background?
I'm a technologist at heart. Most recently, I came into the country from London 7 years ago. I came into this country and worked for Yahoo. I sold a business to Yahoo, which was based out of the UK. Moved here, enjoyed my stay at Yahoo for 6 years, left Yahoo about 2.5 years ago to start this business. Yeah. Before that, I've been building small businesses into into technology companies that are exciting. I've worked in corporates in the UK, but right before that, I started life as a research fellow at the University of London.
Yeah. Did I pitch you right? Because you're not sexy like Snapchat or Pinterest, right? But you're underneath a lot of these newer kinds of apps.
You certainly pitched us right. I mean, sexy or not, it really depends on the kind of value we give to our users. Yeah. Yes, we're not a consumer-facing app, no doubt, but a lot of these consumer-facing apps become increasingly more powerful because of technologies like us. They're able to use us to understand their data. They're able to use us to really understand who does what, why, what are the correlations that drive particular behaviors, and therefore they become successful.
So what is it that you guys are doing?
We've built a data warehouse as a service in the cloud, which if you take the word service, it really means we've taken away the headache from our customers who otherwise would have to develop something themselves or launch something in the cloud themselves. These kinds of technologies were designed in the mid-2000s, most recently. There isn't a technology that has really been designed ground up for today's use cases, where data is coming at different speeds, analytics is needed to extract temporal value of the data, and so on. So as a service, we've completely removed the headache of managing these things, understanding what software packages to use, understanding what machines to provision, then making sure it's up and running, monitoring. And that's the great opportunity for service companies like us that we deliver for emerging businesses in the sort of mobile and web applications.
Is Splunk a competitor, or where do you stand on the competitive landscape? Who
Sure, Splunk is not a competitor. Splunk is much more about understanding machine log data. Mm-hmm. We're much more about understanding user event data. Who does what, why? How do you know who your best users are? How do you know what part of the product or what product features, which products they interact with the most? How do you know what is the time of interactivity before a purchase? How do you know how many times does a user have to go and come back before they make a purchase? How do you know if they've made a purchase of a large item or large ticket item, what will be the next purchase they'll make to go alongside that? So we really help our customers understand the product utilization and user understanding.
So a lot of e-commerce stores use you?
Indeed. So we have customers in e-commerce, in games, in applications, productivity applications on mobile and web. So we have that genre of customers.
So it sounds like most of your customers are in the newer space, the newer startup kinds of companies who are trying to build something new, not old crusty enterprises. Is that a correct statement, or do you see a mixture of both?
Ultimately, I'm sure we'll see a mixture of both, because even the older customers have mobile applications, or the more established companies will have mobile and web applications. We aim to help companies understand these interactions. A significant portion of our customers are the newer companies today. They appreciate the urgency and the requirement for doing all the user level understanding as our system will help them do. I'm sure we'll get a mix of these companies as we grow older as well.
Would a company like Etsy use you?
Indeed. A company like Etsy could use us for sure.
Yeah.
We would help them understand what their users are doing. We'd help them understand how to tie marketing campaigns to identifying the best users they could go after, and so on.
How much would it cost for a company like Etsy to buy you?
The product is not based on the value of the product is not based on what size company you are. It's very much based on how much data you put into the warehouse and the kind of performance you expect to get. Our customers will often start small, and increasingly they'll add more data to it. The more data can come from multiple sources. So a customer could start with just putting data from one source, and it could be a upstream NoSQL transactional database, as an example.
Yeah.
And then they could add more data sources beyond that as they look to join data across different data sources. So they may want to understand user interactions which are captured in their web analytics application or web analytics supplier. They may want to understand what's happening with their product, where that data is going into, for example, a MongoDB. We allow them to bring all those different data sources into us, and then they'll do analytics on top of us. So the business model is very much a hourly fee, and thereafter it's based on how much data are you processing and how quickly you want to process it.
Where does this data come from? Can it come from MySQL or Mongo, or
Indeed.
What kinds of things do you take in?
Absolutely. So we take data from multiple upstream sources. We'll take data from a relational store like a MySQL. We'll take data from a NoSQL store like a MongoDB. We'll take data from applications. You could take data from a Flurry, as an example. It would be an upstream application. You could take data from Facebook to understand the campaign effectiveness of your user acquisition strategy. We could take data which is already on a cloud store like an S3 or Cloud Files, and we will take data from across these different source types, and we'll integrate that data into our system, both in semi-structured form and in structured form. So some of these applications will give you data in a JSON file format.
Yeah.
We'll integrate JSON directly into our database, and will allow...
Why is that significant?
The ability to process data in its native form is certainly a significant value driver that allows you to do two things. First, it allows you to extract as much temporal value in the data as you'd like to. And the reason you do that is because in our system, you don't need to translate that data out of a JSON into a structured format and then integrate it into our system. A lot of the traditional data warehouses will force you to translate that data from JSON to a structured CSV format and then integrate it. And as you're doing that with the sort of newer applications of mobile and web, the data is coming so fast that you don't have the time or the scale to do the ETL. And if you did the ETL, then clearly you'd be spending time doing that, and therefore the temporal value of that data is lost.
Yeah.
So that really is the significance of why we integrate directly with JSON, and then we allow you to write SQL directly over that JSON.
Yeah, it's a crazy new problem with so many mobile users clicking and doing things, buying things. Your data stores can get filled up pretty quickly now, can't
Yeah,
they?
I mean, look.
I remember seeing the first terabyte database here in San Francisco, back in around 2000.
Right.
Now that seems so quaint.
Now it seems small. No, I agree. Look, new data from these applications in mobile and web is coming at tremendous speed. That speed is entirely driven by the number of consumers you have and the interactivity between the consumer and the app. And companies are wise, they're collecting everything. Storage is cheap, so they're storing everything. Now they've collected it and stored it, now they want to analyze it. And they want the most flexible systems that allow them to analyze it almost at the speed at which it's coming.
How do you analyze it automatically and give me some pre-done analytics? Or do I have to come up with code and say, here's what I want to see?
Today, we don't have any sort of pre-built analytics. What we give a user is a tool or a mechanism which the analyst community has been using forever. So we give our user a SQL access into the database. We are ANSI SQL compliant. We have an ODBC JDBC connector through which you can connect a favorite BI tool like a Tableau, so it allows you to do the visualizations of the data should you want it. With providing access in a language that the analysts understand, we find that we don't have to do these pre-built analytics because it's just as easy for an analyst to do that. It's a language they understand and they've been doing it for years.
Is there something, if I'm starting a startup, that I should do in my own architecture and my own thinking that can help you out? Help analytics out in the future?
Our ability we've simplified the way we take data. So you are starting your business, you're probably starting at one of the clouds. We will take data from the cloud, from a cloud store. So you are probably already dumping some data on a cloud store. We will take data from there. If you want to stream data directly into us, you will take one of our client or server-side SDKs and you will move that data to us. So really from a startup cost or startup activity, you have to do very little. You have to appreciate that you'd like to understand your data to help your startup grow, and you'd have to appreciate that there is a service like BitYota available in the cloud, so you don't have to go and build it all yourself or scratch your head and worry about doing it in 5 different ways, which are almost all skunkwork projects.
Yeah.
You'd use a BitYota service.
Yeah, and my friend's starting a company, and they're wholly focused on getting their service built, much less getting the analytics systems to work properly and all that, right?
Yeah, a lot of our customers will use us primarily because they understand that building such infrastructure is expensive and resource hungry. It's not always easy to hire the kinds of people you need to build such infrastructure. Like it's not always easy to hire the kind of people who can build extremely good web and mobile applications. So our customers appreciate that they are very good at what they do, and from an infrastructure perspective, they're happy to use a service like BitYota.
Yeah. How do companies compare you against other approaches? Is it just pure cost? Do they have to consider other things?
As a service, as a platform as a service, I haven't seen our pricing being a cost barrier to entry. People will try and do their own projects in the absence of using us or knowing about us. We're still a startup in the early stages of our own development. People would use technologies like an Amazon Redshift if they're on Amazon, when they understand what we do, which is analytics over multi-structured data, either over semi-structured JSON or CSV, and in particular when they want to do things like joins across these two or understand the different attributes within the JSON and begin to appreciate that the ETL process to translate all this into some normalized CSV is expensive. They'll already begin to understand the value we're bringing.
Yeah. How is this changing companies? Because 10 years ago we didn't have this kind of analytics service. You know, is this changing the kinds of skill sets that companies need to have to build new things, or what do you think?
It's definitely changing how companies think of analytics much earlier in their development. I've often said the traditional data warehouse has always been accessible to larger enterprises. They are generally appliance-based products. They're expensive. They require expertise to install, operate, maintain these products. What we've done is we've taken that powerful technology, built it for today and tomorrow's needs, made it available as a service whereby companies starting out can start thinking of analytics from day one rather than hit some level of maturity where they can afford the enterprise products, which were appliances. So we're definitely seeing with the ability and the right tools and the platforms that you can give, even younger companies start thinking of analytics very early on, which hopefully make better products, etc.
Yeah. Are you Tell me a little bit about the company. How was it funded, and how many employees and stuff like that?
We're 20 people. It was founded in 2011, in October 2011. I have a CTO and a product and an engineering team. We'd all kind of worked together at Yahoo before we all came out and started this business. We took some early money, some seed money from the onset. We raised A capital in October 12, November 12. So we kind of spent the first 18 months just developing this technology. We were fortunate enough to work with early customers who were paying customers and willing to try a product. So we sort of developed in anger in partnership with some customers.
Yeah.
And today we're in a phase where we're growing our business.
Yeah. You probably get to see data trends before most people do, because you're seeing what companies are trying to do with their data. Are you seeing any shifts in like the technologies that they're using, or the approaches that their architectures to deal with this new kind of data flow?
I can certainly talk to some trends. As a data warehouse service, we are not a multi-tenant system. Our customers get a dedicated single tenant system. We only operate and maintain it, so we don't look at their data. But because we work with a lot of our customers, we can certainly see what they're trying to do with such systems. The getting temporal value out of their data. I want to see things. I want to do analytics on data that's recent, and I want to do it every hour, or I want to do it every half an hour. We're definitely seeing massive growth in that. I mean, in the old world, you'd have to wait for a day before your data was collected, your ETL was run, and then you were able to load all that data into your warehouse and then get your daily reports. We're seeing people want to understand activity on their mobile or web apps much sooner in the day as their day business progresses.
Yeah.
That's a very strong trend. We're definitely seeing the growth of NoSQL transactional databases, and people want to analyze data from there. We want using SQL. We're definitely seeing people want to analyze data from multiple sources. Right? It's no longer enough to understand analytics on data that's coming from your SQL upstream OLTP system. It's very much critical to understand data that's coming from multiple sources now. So those are the sort of major trends that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting business.
This is a good space to be.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be less data tomorrow than there was yesterday, right?
Only grows.
Where do we learn more about you?
So you can go to our website. It's www.BitYota.com. It tells you the stuff that we do. You can sign up, and that domain is service.bityota.com, and start using it.
Very cool. Thank you so much for what you do for our customers.
Thank you, Robert.